Hi everybody, it's Sophie, and I thought I'd just pop on and do a quick flip through because we're off on holiday tomorrow, yay! And rather than taking my whole junk journal, I thought I'd make myself a little insert for my traveller's notebook, which I'll show you in a sec. And this is the one that I made. So I thought I'd just give you a quick look at it, and maybe it'll give you some ideas if you want to go take a junk journal travelling with you and your current junk journal's too big to do that. So I made the cover out of just a Amazon packet. So one of the sort of cardboard folders that books and stuff arrive in, and then all I did was just cut it to size. I've made this to be the Moleskine Cahier size, which is, let me just grab my ruler, which is, I do everything in centimetres, I'm afraid. It's roughly 21 centimetres by just over 13 centimetres, so the whole thing is 26 across. Because those are the size that I use for my traveller's notebooks, because I find that the sort of Midori size ones are a little bit too narrow for me, whereas these seem to suit quite nicely. So I just cut it to that size, and then cut a load of papers to go inside it, which I'll just flip you through now. And then all I did was just collage the outside and inside, pretty much completely influenced by Jessica Rapp, who does such fantastic book page and stuff collaging. So they're just bits and pieces of atlases and books and stuff that I've got that I've just sort of stuck on. I may put some Mod Podge over the top of it. I'll think about doing that. So, very good at saying all the time. And there I go again. And then I just put some washi tape down the edges and along the spine just to give it a little bit of extra strength. And then I've literally just stitched it straight into the spine. I haven't done, you know, a sort of hidden spine or anything like that. I just wanted to keep it really simple. And then you can see the inside's collaged as well. Let's have a little look. So just the front and back collage like that. I haven't put any pockets or anything because I didn't want to bulk it out. I just wanted to keep it quite simple. And then I've just done an extra, this is a paper pad, can't remember which one. If you desperately want to know, ask me and I'll find out for you and put it in the links. And then just again wanted to keep it really simple, no embellishments, no pockets, because I didn't want to make it too big, especially as I'll no doubt be sticking lots of stuff into it as we go around. We're actually off to Italy for 2 weeks and I'm very excited, really looking forward to it. And we've got a week in Rome, sort of sightseeing, and then we're going down into the heel of Italy. It's a place called Lecce, which is, I think, the state's Puglia. And then just chilling out there for a bit. We've been there before and it's just gorgeous. It's really lovely, really looking forward to it. So anyway, back to this. This is just I tried some avocado dyeing and had a lot of fun with that, and I really like the colour it's gone. So this was just some plain avocado dyed paper. And the spots I think are where, yes, this must have been this side down on the baking paper, and then the sort of water, the dye collected a bit there and went a bit stronger. This is a page from, it's called it's over here, Architectural Graphic Standards, which Jessica Rapp uses, and I just loved it. I loved the way that it's all hand-drawn, these gorgeous, gorgeous drawings. So I finally crumbled, having spent about 2 months telling myself not to. I went on eBay and found one, and it's quite expensive, but considering how much, I think I might have paid about 40 something for it, including shipping. But you get about 500 pages and so much you can do with it. So I thought, actually, it'll be worth it. Desperately trying to justify it. And that's it. No more eBay for me for the rest of the year. And then just some pages. This is from a road atlas that I found in Oxfam. This is some old ledger paper. I bought a couple of ledgers off eBay. Some wrapping paper, book pages, graph paper that I avocado dyed. Encyclopedia paper that I think I got off a sort of package of book pages that I bought off Etsy, I think it was, and this is another avocado dyed. Some Ordnance Survey map. I've probably said it in previous videos, but a friend of mine gave me just a massive pile of Ordnance Survey maps when she's clearing her house out after her mum died. Some pages from a dictionary, the King's English Dictionary. Just some plain paper, I think it's just plain cream copier paper. I think this was some sort of thin craft paper that I got out of a book that I dismantled. Lovely page from the Australian Book of Birds that I picked up in Oxfam. More leisure paper, more, I love the colour that one went. That's just gorgeous. That's just plain, I think it's copier, I think it's white copier paper. Yes, yeah, which I think is about 90 grams per square inch. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is in American. And some music pages, some tea dyed lined paper. This is from an old A to Z of London. This is a bag that a sourdough loaf came in that I quite like the look of from Gales, which is like an artisan. It was called artisan bakeries. Seem to be all the rage at the moment. Some more avocado dyed lined paper. That's a big index card that I tea dyed. Just some plain lined paper that came out of a journal that I dismantled. That's more, I think that's cream actually, some nice sort of textured cream, and I printed I think that was a Victoria Designs thing on it, and then tried coffee dyeing it, so I thought I'd use that. Middle centre, more Ordnance Survey, and I just folded the bottom up to make a couple of pockets that I can just stick things in before I actually stick them into the journal. Might put another couple of pockets actually on this one because it's a bit firmer. So yeah, that could handle a couple of pockets. Anyway, think about that. And then the rest is obviously all the other sides of the pages. Well, I managed to chop that print in half, never mind. And the loaf bag, a bit more of the A to Z. I keep going wonky. More of the avocado. I'm so pleased with that how that avocado dyeing came out. Didn't expect it to go quite that pink. It's brilliant. More of the Australian birds. So yeah, this is just pretty much the other side of everything you've already seen. I do love this. I said it in other videos. I love the King's English Dictionary because it has these little illustrations in it on most pages. Moose with big antlers. Other side of the Ordnance Survey, graph paper. So I tried to get sort of a mix of paper, but I also wanted to keep as much plain stuff as I could, with just a little bit of something else for interest, because I'm no doubt going to be sticking lots of, you know, tickets and maybe even some photos or whatever in this. And that's the other side. Look, isn't that just gorgeous? That hand-drawn pictures, just absolutely love it. And then the back of it. So that's the rest of the scrapbook paper, which I folded in the wrong place, but never mind. And then the back of the collaged. So what I thought I might do is hang on to this video, especially as we have no internet at the moment, so I can't upload it before I go tomorrow. And then when I get back, with it all probably stacked in with loads of stuff, I might just give it another flip through and you can see how I've used it, if that would be of interest. Okay, hope that was interesting. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back probably full of Italian ice cream. I'm very happy for it. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi everybody and welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Oh, and the ums have started already. This is my post-using video about the travel journal that I made for myself to take out to Italy, and I thought I'd just give you a quick flip through and show you how I used it while I was out there. And pretty much all I took with me was a Pritt stick and a pair of scissors. I think that was it. Yeah, totally forgot to take any washi tape, which would have been useful, but this is sort of what I did with just Pritt stick and stickers and all the ephemera and stuff I collected while I was out there. Actually, no, sorry, not Pritt stick, Uhu, which is pretty good glue, actually, I like it. So before I start, I realised something when I got the journal out there, that I'd managed to stick the British Isles an Italian postage stamp without even knowing I did it. So talk about self-conscious. And also the dictionary definition I stuck on there was Traventine, which you see a lot of in Rome actually, because it's a particularly, it's belonging to the Tiber, which is, if I'm right, that's the Tiber River that runs through Rome, a white concretionary limestone. Deposited from water that holds lime in solution. They used a lot of it in the construction of various stuff in Rome. So I saw a few blocks of Traventine here and there, and then I sat down with the journal and thought, oh, I managed to stick it on the front. That's really weird. So anyway, just a quick flip through, just in case you're interested, and see how one of these looks like after I've finished using it, and then I shall stack this away. I so loved doing it. I so loved having somewhere to stash all the things that I tend to collect whenever I go on holiday, and then just sort of write a bit of a recollection as I did it, and actually do it while I was out there, rather than trying to do it when I get back, which I never get around to, and then I've forgotten everything that happened anyway. So so it worked really well for me, actually. I was really pleased. So I showed you the cover and stuff last time, the sort of collage cover I made. And then really it's just a day by day. I'd sort of stick a few things in from that day also. So this was our flight out to Rome.
the train ticket that I actually, with my ropey Italian, managed to ask for once we got to Fiumicino Airport, which is the main airport in Rome. And then we got a train down to Trastevere, which is where we were staying, which means over the other side of the Tiber River, which I found out when I was there. And it's a really lovely part of Rome. It's full of sort of trattorias and bars and all sorts of stuff. And it's where the Romans tend to go out, so it doesn't tend to cost a horrendous amount. And we had a lovely little Airbnb apartment there over a little piazza with a bar that sold fantastic Aperol spritzers, so I might have a few of those. And then I just sort of collect, there were some tea bags when we got there and sort of bits and pieces. It's the sort of napkin from the ice cream parlour we went to, the restaurant we went to on the first night. This is a picture. The only thing I did after I got home was I printed a few of my photos out and sort of added them in on appropriate days and did that because obviously I don't have a sprocket or anything or something I can print out photos there. I'm thinking about getting one. They look really cool. And then that was just a shopping list, and then on the back of it I'd scribbled a few Italian words because my poor husband was not very well. He picked up a nasty virus and we were trying to find a pharmacy that could sell us something for a very sore throat and swollen glands, and unfortunately that only got worse during the holiday, but we still managed to do stuff, which is good, so he didn't feel like he'd just spent the whole time in bed. That was a day trip to some, it's literally just a walk up from Trastevere was some sort of, God, not ornithological, what's the word? Botanical gardens. And they were really lovely, and the Villa Farnesina, which has some quite enthusiastic frescoes all over it, which is quite cool. Then we had a day where we went in, the other half went to see a doctor and got some painkillers and stuff prescribed. They said it was just a virus, and I went and did a bit of shopping. So this is sort of various bits and pieces from the shops that we went to, and also Cafe Greco, because this was the first time we've been to Rome since we actually got engaged there. God, is it 11? Might be 12 years ago. It's 11. No, it's 12. It is 12 years ago. And we went to Cafe Greco that time and sort of sat there once we'd actually got engaged. So it was really lovely to go back again. And the pharmacy that we went to try and get him drugs after he'd been to the doctor and all sorts of stuff. Fantastic ice creams if you're ever in Rome. Absolutely brilliant. And then just lots of sort of random journaling about it. This was the next day? I think so. The poor other half was still ill, so he sort of stayed in bed for the morning, and I went off and looked at a local church and an amazing sort of crypt area underneath it, which was just around the corner from where we were staying. Well worth a visit, again, if you're ever in Rome. And then we went off to bars of Diocletian in the afternoon, which I'd never been to before. They're amazing. Just the sheer scale of them is incredible. And I've been doing some research into Roman history and stuff for the second book I want to write next year. So it was really nice having that sort of background. And if you're ever interested in Roman history, there's a fantastic podcast, I'll try and remember to link it, called The History of Rome, and it's fantastic. It's just so much fun to listen to, really interesting. He's really done his research, but he presents it in such an accessible, interesting way to listen to, and I've learnt loads from it, so it was great. It really gave an extra sort of aspect, an extra level to being in Rome when I knew a bit more about the history of it, so that was lovely. So yeah, we sort of took it quite easy. That's some pasta that I cooked, which was very nice. The local supermarket we went to, the stationery store we went to, and Martin bought me an early birthday present. Lovely husband brownie points of a fountain pen and a notebook. Bless him. That was a really lovely cat. So this was a trip to Trajan's Markets, again, well worth a visit. This one here, it's got a great museum in it as well. So I sort of tend to keep the tickets and the bus tickets and all that sort of stuff. But these are it's basically like a Roman shopping mall, and it's got really good exhibitions in it that show you where they sat in terms of all the other various forums that were built around them and why they were the way they were, and the really visionary architect who built them, who worked closely with Trajan on a lot of different projects. And yeah, and that's a picture of Trajan's Column, which is just outside. So well worth a visit. It's sort of just over the road from, so you've got Trajan's Markets here, and then sort of just over that way is the Colosseum and the Forum and all the sort of, you know, the big things that Rome's known for. Also some quotes I got off the subscription I belong to, some random biscuits that we ate. Oh, these are lovely, really tasty. Another trip to the restaurant, quiet day. Then we had a week in Rome. Then we got a train down to Lecce, which is right down in the heel of Italy, in the area called Puglia, which is gorgeous, and we've been to before. And poor old Martin ended up very ill, and we ended up in A&E, like in the middle of the night. Really put my Italian to the test. And so there's lots of journaling about that. And he was fine in the end. It really did turn out to be just a virus, but it had given him a very nasty panic-inducing rash that didn't go away when you put a glass on it, which we were always taught to panic at that point and go to hospital, so we did. And this was just some stuff from the train journey down to Lecce, which was great. So we then just had a really nice, relaxed time in Lecce. He got a lot better very quickly once they got him on the right drugs, and so we sort of went to cafes. We ate a lot of fantastic ice cream, went shopping in supermarkets. I drank lots of tea. I found the local market to pick up fruit and vegetables. This is a lovely cafe, and if you're ever in Lecce, have something called a rustico, if you like that sort of thing, and it's a puff pastry, sort of round, that's got bechamel sauce and tomatoes in the middle of it, and it doesn't sound great, but it's absolutely lovely if you like that sort of stuff, and well worth having. See some of my phrase for this, well worth doing something. I also found a couple of stationery shops. So this is a little collage from all the different bits and pieces of paper that I bought. And if you're ever in Lecce and want to know where I went, drop me a line and I'll tell you, because I found this place that was just full of books of different sort of official forms. So quite a lot of these are from official forms, so you can get pads that hotels use and that people who are studying use and all this sort of stuff. I think this was the actual name of the shop, so you can see where it is there. And I had a lot of fun with that. And there's also a fantastic, if you really want to push the boat out, paper shop in Lecce just by the cathedral that does loads of beautiful marbled papers and gorgeous notebooks and all that sort of stuff. So this time I just restrained myself to buying marbled paper, and even that cost me €20. And then I did go back again later in the week, but never mind. And that was just a restaurant that we went to, a few sort of bits and pieces of what we were drinking and eating, and another cat that we saw in the cemetery. And this, if you're ever in Lecce, go here for ice cream. It was so good. It was so good. So you can see that the sort of amount of ephemera is calming down because we didn't do anywhere near as much. This was from our favourite bar, another really good place for Aperol spritzes. And yes, that was my other trip to the paper shop. Honestly, I am such a sucker, but just such beautiful stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it. Then there was the last day we were there, Martin was pretty much back on his feet completely, so we did go around some of the cathedrals, which are absolutely beautiful. There's a thing called, I think it's Lecce Baroque, and it's because they've got this lovely soft sort of sandstone that they use there, so the carvings are incredible because it's relatively easy to carve, I reckon. So the Duomo's covered in it, the main cathedral. There's another one called Basilica Santa Croce, I think it is. Yeah, this one here. Is that it? Yes. Which has incredible sort of carvings all along the front of it. Almost like, you know, every single one of these little buttress things is a different carving that holds it up. So it's just a fantastic city to wander around. It hasn't got the level of sort of sights that somewhere like Rome has, obviously, but it's just a lovely city to be in and wander around in. And then bought a bag to carry all my swag home in. These are just sort of bits of a postcard that I put in here. This was the centre fold out, so I've sort of just kept a few bits and pieces in here, and backed it with a map that we got given when we bought the tickets to go and see the Duomo and Santa Croce. And last day, last Aperol Spritz, last ice cream. Then we had a night, we got the train back up to Rome, stayed the night in Rome, so this is sort of left over from when we stayed. I should probably blank that out, but never mind. And we went back to Trastevere and had another lovely meal at our lovely restaurant that we went to every time, and more Aperol spritzes and more ice cream, which was fantastic. And then the flight home. So that was our last day. And then these were just a few pictures from the sort of pamphlet we were given to go round Lecce with when we signed in to go to the churches. And you do have to pay a little bit to go to the main churches, but it all goes on the maintenance and everything. And I come from Winchester, and the cathedral there, they effectively have to pay to get in. They pretty much guilt trip a donation out of you, which I'd just rather they honestly just said, look, just give us £4 and you can come in. But if you look at the amount of maintenance, they need the money. And the cathedral, the Duomo, has an incredible crypt underneath it. It's just amazing, but you can take pictures down there, unfortunately. So that, yep, and I used up a fair chunk of it, actually. I didn't have too many pages left, which I was surprised about. So this can now be stored on the shelf and be a really lovely memory of even in amongst the poor old other half's illness, which was actually, it was still a really, really lovely holiday, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And I'm so glad I had this with me to record all the little sort of daily bits and pieces, even down to the ice cream I had and the tea that I was drinking. It's just a really nice memory. So I hope that's been of interest. If you do have any questions on Rome or, Lecce or anything like that, feel free to drop them to me in the comments, and if I can answer them, I will. Okay, take care and see you soon. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.